Welcome viewers, do watch the video at a faster speed if you think I'm going too slow, and you can also slow down the video if you think I'm going too fast. So in this video I'm going to show you how to swap the values in two variables without using another variables. Okay, for example, A has 5 and B has 10. So after swapping, A will have 10 and B will have 5, and we cannot use any extra variable like int t, which is normally used while swapping two variables. Okay, and we are not going to use any inbuilt function also to do this, but we will be using the bitwise operator to perform this swapping without using this extra variable. So since we are not using this extra variable, what will be the variables present in our program? They will be only int a and you can say int b. So these will be the only two variables that will be present in our program. So why will be using the bitwise operators at all? Because the bitwise operators have an O of n complexity which is faster than all the other operators. So we will want that our program runs in a much more faster time rather than in much slower time. Okay, so we'll use the bitwise operators which has O of n complexity and not use the other operators which have O of n square or O of n cube complexity. And we'll start from the basics in this video, and we'll just not focus on writing the code and taking out the output and then seeing that if the output matches, then we'll memorize the code. This video is not about that. This video is about building up the thought process behind writing that piece of code. If you want just the code, you can just search the entire internet and you will just get the code, but the explanation will be given only in this video. Okay, so to get started with the video, we will first start with how this XOR operator works, which we will be using in the swapping process, and we'll also see why we'll use the XOR operator, and with time we will see what are the processes involved. Okay, so first let's make the table for XOR. A and B will be the two columns, and I'll write A XOR B over here. So we'll write here 0011 like we did, and 0101. Mind you, I have shown this in my previous bit masking videos, but I will show this again because I will have to start from the basics if I want to show you why we are at all using XOR operator. Okay, and what is the logic behind the output of this XOR operator? That if there are odd number of ones, then the output will be 1. So we can see this in this row, and in this row there are odd number of ones and the number of ones is 1. So we'll give the output as 1, and in the rest of the cases the output will be 0. Okay, why output 0? Because there are not odd number of ones over here. Here there is no 1 at all, and here there are 2 ones which are even number of ones, but we want odd number of ones. Okay, so here there are odd number of ones, hence we'll get the output as 1 over here. So now we have to always keep this thing in mind, that we have to keep making observations. So the first observation that we make is that whenever the two numbers A and B are equal, then the output is 0. So we can conclude this, that X XOR X equals to 0. And another thing that we can conclude over here is that whenever we XOR a number with 0, the output is the number itself. So we can conclude another thing over here, which is 0 XOR Y is equals to Y. So now the answer to the question that why are we using the XOR operator will become clear, because you can see that we can relate these two equations because of the presence of 0. We can write this equation as something like this, that X XOR Y is equals to Y. If we combine these two equations, like if we XOR both the sides, okay, and if we XOR this equation 1 with equation 2, we get this equation. So what are we seeing over here? That whenever there will be elements present even number of times, they will cancel each other to give 0, and the element present odd number of times will be given as the output when XORed with 0. Okay, so number XOR number will be 0, and number XOR 0 will be equals to the number itself, and combining these two equations we get this equation, and these two equations are the base upon which we will do our program. Okay, so now we will see how to write our program. Okay, we have learned the basics of XOR over here. So let's get started with the build up of our thinking process. Here I have written a small code snippet for the program where we could have used the extra variable to have swapped the elements. Okay, so as you can see, if we had this extra variable, we could have assigned the value of A to this variable. Now since we don't have this variable, one thing that is very crystal clear is that whatever will be on the left hand side of our statement over here will contain either A only or B only. Okay, and not any other thing, because it is strictly mentioned in the program that we cannot use any extra variable nor any inbuilt function inside our program. Okay, so we will write a equals to something or b equals to something, then again b equals to something, then a equals to something, and here also if we start with b, then either a equals to or a equals to. Then we will see what we can do over here. But the thing that I wanted to make clear is that on the left hand side of the equation there will be either a or b only. Okay, so I hope this much concept has been clear. And in the previous part of the video, what did we see, that why did we use bitwise operators? Because it compiled the program in much lesser time and therefore increasing the efficiency, and how this XOR table worked, and how the XOR gave output due to odd number of ones, and how the observations worked, and how they can be linked together. And just now we saw that what will be on the left hand side of the equation. So left hand side of the equation, we are just sure that there will be either a or b. Now we have two choices, there can be either a or b, so we'll proceed with both of them, because both of them can be true, and if they are false, we'll reject them in the upcoming time if we see that if they are not working. But for now we will proceed the program with writing a equals to here and b equals to here, which means this will be, and we will also see if there are two ways to do the program or just one way to do the program, because we can see that we can use only these two variables a and b on the left hand side of the equation. So for now just use write a at the beginning and b at the beginning on two sides of the column, and we will see how to proceed with the right hand side of the equation from henceforward. Okay, so now what we are going to do is that we are going to create two columns, one for a and one for b, and again on this side also one for a and one for b, so that we can be clear about what we are doing with our program. Okay, so let's say a has been given the value of 5 and b has been given the value of 7. Okay, so this will be one code and this will be another code, and we are going to see which one is the correct code. Okay, and while writing the code, if you see if either of them are wrong while building up the thinking process, then we'll reject that process. Okay, so what were we sure of? We were sure of that on the left hand side there will be either a or b, but we are not exactly sure of whether there will be strictly a or strictly b. So we have considered both the choices, and on one side we have written a and then one side we have written b. Now to write on what we want to write on the right hand side, we have to just think it out. Okay, so we are going to try out different permutations and combinations and reject some of the options based on some proper logic. Okay, so let's take some cases on let's make up some cases first on what can be on the right hand side of the equation. Okay, mind you, what we have to do is that we have to write some numbers on the right hand side and also use XOR in that. Okay, only use XOR. So what am I trying to say is that on the right hand side there can be A's or A or A's or B or B's or B. So these are the number of cases that I have to make. Okay, so the first case that is coming to my mind is that we can take even number of A's. What do I mean by even number of A's? Is that I will XOR A's even number of times, then even number of B's, and after that these are taken independently. Like I will write first A's or A, and after that we'll see if that works or not, then we will write B's or B. Okay, and where we'll write over here, and we'll see if that works or not. Okay, after that we will take odd number of A, and after that odd number of B. So the independent processes are over for A and B. Like we will take this independently, and now we will see how we can take A and B in combination. So there can be even and odd two columns. First we will take A even number of times and B odd number of times. Similarly B even number of times and A odd number of times. Okay, then what we can do, these are some rows, or you can say cases. Okay, so what we can do is that we can also take A even number of times, B even number of times, and on the other hand, in the other case, we can take A odd number of times and B even number of times. What do I mean by taking even number of times and odd number of times? XORing the numbers by taking A even number of times, or XORing B by taking them even number of times. Okay, so let's go to the first case. So this first, second, third, fourth and fifth case contains 4 cases inside it. Okay, so in the first case, what is happening? Even number of A's. So let's say A is equals to A's or A. So what is A's or A? What had we learned in the previous slide? That a number XORed with itself is 0. So if we write A is equals to A's or A, then A will be equals to 0 and a will be lost, which means if a was 5 over here, it will be converted to 0, and then there would have been no possibility where we could have got a over here and b over here. So whenever there is this even number of times, we will cancel those cases where there is a number which is present even number of times, which will shorten our thinking process, okay, or narrow down our path to the correctness of the code. Okay, so if we write a is equals to a or a, or b is equals to a or a, okay, so b will be assigned 0. If we had written b is equals to a or a is equals to a or a, then either a would have been equals to 0 or b would have been equals to 0. So we will reject these two cases because there is no possibility only, okay, where these two things can be exchanged with each other. So we'll reject this. Now if we say take a odd number of times, so if we write a is equals to a or a, okay, so these two will cancel each other out to give 0, then 0 or a is how much? A. So is equals to a makes no sense, and if we write b is equals to a or a, then b will be equals to a again, okay. So if b is equals to a again, then what will happen over here? Like if I'm talking about this part of the code, okay, for each case I will be talking about both parts of the code. So in the previous case, when a was present even number of times, first I wrote a is equals to a or a for here, and then b is equals to a or a, and both of them turned out to be of no use to me, so I cancelled out this case. Now writing the odd number of times a, what happened was I wrote a or a, and these two even a's were cancelled out, okay. So I was left only with a's, but there is no use if I write 5 and then again write it 5. So now what am I doing? I will write on this part of the code a or a. If b equals to 5 over, if b equals to a over here, which means 7 will be cut down and we will write over 5, and a is 5 and b is also 5. So how will this 7 go over here? So there is no way that 7 will go over here. So similarly the odd portions also cut. So independently on the right hand side of the equation, we are very much sure that we can't take only just one number on the right hand side equation, the right hand side of the equation over here, or you can say the statement of the expression. We can't write just simply a or simply b or XOR them even number of times or odd number of times. If we are writing something on the right hand side, we have to write them together, which means we just simply can't write a's or a or b's or b. We have to write either a's or b or b's or a, for which we have made the cases over here, okay. So now all these cases were one part of the explanation, and now these cases will be another part of the explanation, okay. So now first, what is the case? That we have to take a even number of times. So if we take a even number of times, let's say we write a even number of times and b odd number of times. So let's say we write b odd number of times, which is 1. So this will come down to something like this. So this will come down to 0 or b, and again the same problem is occurring over here, that a is being directly assigned b, okay. So a was 5 and originally what were they? 5 and 7. So a is becoming b, which means a is becoming 7 over here. So now this 5 is getting lost. So now how to get this 5 back? So this case will be rejected again. And now if we are taking b even number of times and a odd number of times, then similarly the same thing will happen, okay. That if I write something like this, that okay, so we had written a is equals to b. Now for the right hand side of the equation, if b equals to a or b, this would have been also made for, I'm talking about this part of the case, that b will be equals to b, and similarly this would have been also useless. So overall this case is useless. So similarly this case will also be useless, because again what is happening over here is that we are taking b a even number of times, okay. So on the left hand side there is a, so I'm writing a equals to then b even number of times, so b is or b, and then a odd number of times, which means a will be XORed with the even b's. And now what do we get? B's or b is always 0, so 0s or a will be a. Again a will be equals to a, and that will be of no use. So now what is happening over here is that I have this case over here where a will be taken even number of times and b will be taken even number of times. But we had already seen that if we take two numbers equal number of times, they will be cancelled with each other. So just see that case over here. If we write a equals to a XOR a and again XOR it with b, so all these will cancel each other to give 0, and again the numbers will be lost. So they will be of no use to me. So what is the only remaining case over here, which is a odd number of times and b odd number of times. So let's just see what is happening over here. So I have just originally written 5 over here, 7 over here, 5 over here, and 7 over here. and I have also taken all the cases that could have been taken and have been rejected for some or the other reason. For sometimes A will become 0, so that A's value will be lost and B will not get that value. And sometimes we are directly just swapping. In A we are writing 7, so this 5 is getting lost. So for that reason we have to just see whether this final case works or not. Okay, so now what is the final thing that we can do? We are taking A odd number of times and B odd number of times. So we will do something like A is equals to A odd number of times, one time I'm taking, and B odd number of times, so I'm taking one time. Okay, so what is happening is that this 5 was already present in A. So now what is happening? Now 5 will reduce and 5s or 7. So what am I seeing over here is that 5 is not getting lost and it is present somehow in the equation. So this case seems somewhat right to me. So I will proceed with this case. And let's see what will happen on the right hand side of the equation. In the right hand side of the equation, B is equals to A or B. I am taking A odd number of times as was mentioned over here and B odd number of times as was mentioned over here. So again now I am taking this equation over here also. And why am I taking? Because the 7 is not getting lost over here and it is somehow present, and all the A's and B's are present, though in the form of some they are joined with each other with the help of operator, but they are present and not getting lost like in all the previous cases where either A was getting 0 or B was getting 0, or they were directly getting swapped, resulting in the loss of the other number which we could not have recovered. But here all the numbers are present, 5 and 7, 5 and 7, so there is a possibility of recovery. So now we will, the first statement is quite clear that A will be equals to A or B and B is equals to A or B. Until now we are not sure that which of the methods is correct. So now we will start thinking and find out which of the methods is correct, and if either both of them are correct or both of them are wrong, which we will just build up just the way we build up this first line by the help of a thinking process. Okay, now inside A what do we have? 5s or 7, and inside B have 7, and on the right hand side of the equation, right hand side of the code, we have A 5 and B 5s or 7. Okay, so now what is the obvious thing that we can see? That 7 is present twice over here and 5 is present twice over here. So whenever a number is present twice, we can sort them to just nullify that number. So we will somehow want to do that. Okay, so now to do that, what we can do? We had 5 over here originally and we want 5 actually over here. So now if we do something like this for the left hand side of the code, that we do for B is equals to B XOR 7. So what is B? 7 XOR B XOR A. So what is B XOR A? 7 XOR 5 XOR 7. So what is 7 XOR 5 XOR 7? So 7 will get cancelled because it is present even number of times, and B will be equals to 5. So in this way we have seen that 5 which was originally present in A is now present in B. So now I can proceed to write this code with the hope that in the next step we will also use some method to get this original 7 which was in B to A. Okay, at this moment the first job is done, that we have got the value of A which was 5 in B by writing B is equals to B XOR A. Okay, so 5 is just got inside B and we have swapped the value of A to B, but the other part is left, that we have to swap this value of B7 to this A. And one thing which you can notice is still the original values of A and B, which are 5 and 7, is not lost, because 5 or 7 is present over here and B which was equals to 5 is also present over here. Okay, so now what we can do on the right hand side of the code, in the right hand side of the code, in A there was original 5 and in B there was originally 7. So now we can see that 5 is present even number of times in totality over here. Okay, and what do we want to do? We want to put this 5 which was in A over here and this 7 which was present in B over here. So now what I can do is that to put this 7 over here, I can do something like A XOR B. So what is A XOR B? 5 XOR 5 XOR 7. So 5 XOR 5 is 0, XOR 7 is equals to 7. So similarly I will do over here is equals to A is equals to A XOR B over here. So one thing that you can notice is that in both the steps A and B are present odd number of times on the right hand side of the equation. And why not even number of times? Because as we had seen in the previous cases, that when we are writing A and B even number of times, then they are getting cancelled because of the property of XOR, where we XOR a number with itself, it results in 0. Okay, and all the other cases were also cancelled because they were either swapped for some or the other reason and the number was getting lost and we were not able to recover it. But here the number is still not lost. Okay, so for example here I do 5 XOR 5 XOR 7 and I get 7 over here as the answer. and you can still see that the original values are still retained and still not lost. Like here 5 XOR 7 is present and 5 is present, here 7 is present, 5 XOR 7 is present. So now coming to the probably the last step, because B has already the value of A is now in B and here the value of B is now in A. So now till now both these methods have been right, and we just want to see finally if both these methods are correct or not. So now we are for the final step, we see that on the left hand side of the code the 5 is present even number of times. So obviously we want to cancel this 5 by XORing this A and B and placing this in A. Okay, and why placing this in A? Because A is yet to get this value of 7. So we will do something like this: A is equals to A XOR B yet again. So what is A XOR B? 5 XOR 7 XOR 5, which is 7, which was originally present in B. And in this way we have got and we have swapped the values of A and B without using any other variable, and with the help of all the other cases, rejecting all the other cases and accepting the only one case which would have worked over here. Similarly, what we will do over here, since 7 is present even number of times, we will cancel that 7 by XORing it with A and B, and which is left to be swapped, which means value of A is yet to go in B. So obviously we will do something like B is equals to A XOR B, because B will get the final value of B will get the original value of A, which was 5. So what is B? B is now 7 XOR, which is A over here, 7, 5 XOR 7. So 7 and 7 cancel and we get 5, which was originally over, and we already had got 7, which was originally over here. So this was all about the thinking process that we had got, that on the right hand side of the equation you can clearly notice that A and B are present odd number of times, and these two codes we conclude that they are correct with the help of this dry run, where we see that they just work properly because of the property of XOR, where 0 XOR y is equals to y and x XOR x equals to x, x or x equals to 0, because a number present or even number of times will cancel each other to give 0 over here. So it was pretty obvious that the right hand side of the equation will not have even number of any numbers, because of the property of XOR, where the number present even number of times when XORed with each other cancelled each other. So they are present odd number of times, and the left hand side will obviously contain A or B. Why? Because we cannot use this extra variable, and how we just started with A or B and still we got the same result with the help of both the codes. Okay, so this was all about the video. So this is the final code for the program, where I have written one left part of the code on the left hand side and the right part of the code on the right hand side, and both the codes will work, and these are just commented out. And first we take the input of the variables and then just swap the variables that I had shown just previously, and then just we print them. And this is the final code. I hope you understood everything in this video, and do leave any doubts in the comments. Thanks for watching.